Good evening, everyone. How are you? Let's share. And tonight is going to be awesome. I'm really excited about this topic. The investor versus the consumer. I think it's going to be really helpful for all of us. And it might not be everything that you're thinking of right now, but might be some things that you are thinking of too. But I think that this is going to be pretty dope. So right now, I'm just taking some time to share to some people. Come on. We are going to be talking about what is the difference between an investor and a consumer. Brother Glenn P. Brooks Jr., what's up, my man? Tonight we are talking investor versus consumer. We're going to be looking at this from a biblical perspective. We're a church, Love True Church. So, my man, just to let you know some announcements that we have coming up while we're waiting for people to join is this. Right now we're about to begin reading this book this week. And this Saturday we begin with the first two chapters. Also, those that don't know, please sign up for Right Now Media by giving us your email address so we can send it to you. It's a free, just a free way to get access to over 10,000 Bible studies, ranging from all types of topics, from marriage to finances to discipleship, thousands of kids videos, so your children can have a fun time learning more about Christ. It's just a really good resource. So while we're kind of waiting for some more people to jump on, please get that book. Thanks, brother. We're trying to fine tune our setup as much as possible to make it easier for people to follow along. That's what we're trying to do. And then we're live. And then investor versus consumers. And we're going to dive into this thing. So we're going to start in about 2 more minutes as I share this video. I'm going to ask that you do the same. Share the individuals. We're going to be talking about what's the difference between an investor and a consumer. But as we do that, man, drop in there. Let me know. Appreciate it, bruh. Really do. Let me know what your thoughts are. I really don't want to get off topic with this, but it's good to hear people's thoughts, because tonight the NFL season kicks off. Are you watching the NFL this year or not? I want to hear from people out there. Are you watching the NFL or not? As we continue to share this. We're talking about the difference between investing and consumers. So this book right here, as we said, is by Francis Chan. We'll be going through this book for the month of September. Send us your email addresses if you don't have Right Now Media as of yet. This is Right Now Media. You can get it on multiple platforms. You'll be able to get it on your computer, on your tablets, on your cell phones. And this is just a way, as a free gift to you. You can watch so many videos on there, and I just want to let you have that opportunity and to follow along with us, so you can be along with our Bible studies and our discussions. And we'll be talking about crazy love for the rest of the month. But there was some discussions that I saw on Facebook. Okay, Mom, you don't like football, so you were going to watch football anyway. But let me know, are you watching the NFL this year? Yes or no, and your reasons why. Also, this Saturday we have the Back to School Fair at Carmody Hills Elementary School, and that is from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. God has allowed us to be able to partner up with Carmody Hills Elementary School. They want to make it fun and exciting for the students and the parents to come back to school. And so there'll be moon bounces, food, games. We're going to have some hot dogs, some chips. We got 2 moon bounces, one for the older kids, one for the younger kids. So it's going to be a really, really good time. Please come on out, bring your children, and get excited about this school year. Right? I think that is everything. So again, you want to get this book, and I'll probably end with this so people will see that too. But I'm pretty sure y'all are ready to get in and learn about what is the difference between an investor. You just watched the Super Bowl, Jen. Okay. Well, I mean, I know some people that just watch the Super Bowl. It's a great time. Some people just watch for the commercials, see how funny they are. That is cool too. All right. And you can let me know throughout the message what we have our discussion tonight, man, because I'm really going to get your feedback. Take off all the marketing stuff. So here, first, in order for us to understand the difference between an investor and a consumer, and I'll get your feedback too. You let me know if you agree. What's the difference? An investor is someone they either put money, time, or other items to use by purchase or expenditure. So they either purchase it and own it, or they invest money as an expenditure. So they can be renting something or giving money towards it or whatever that resource is, and something offering potential profitable returns as interest, income, or appreciation in value. So here, a beginning definition of an investor is someone who puts something to use. They're either purchasing or putting an expenditure towards it. So they're putting some value towards it. And the value that they put in, they are expecting a potential profitable return. They're expecting some interest from it. They're expecting some income from it. Or they're expecting for it to raise in value. Okay? So that's what an investor is. Also, an investor either use, give, or devote time and talent as for a purpose or to achieve something. So they put in time. They use, they give, or they devote something that they have of value to achieve a purpose or achieve something else. Okay? So that's another. I'm using Webster's. Okay? And then from there, another definition of investor is someone to infuse or belong to as a quality or characteristic. So now as an investor, you become so engulfed with something that you're infused into it. You belong to it. And you belong to it so much it becomes a part of your character. It's a quality that people see from you because you invested some time, money, or whatever resource it is that you become infused and you become a part of it. Okay? So that is an investor. Now, let's talk about what is a consumer. So a consumer is someone who destroys or expend by use, or they use it up. Okay? So it's interesting that investors can use and a consumer can use. But an investor, when they use it, it appreciates or get more value. When a consumer uses it, they use it up and there's nothing left. Okay? Also, a consumer destroys as by decomposition or by burning. So a consumer can destroy something by just allowing it to decompose. So they don't use it at all. They never touch it. Or they burn it up. So burning up is fire is a rapid, is a rapid, what is it called? Consumption of oxygen. That's what fire is. And so burning up is that you just eat up all the oxygen. That's what fire does. And it's interesting, as people, we need oxygen to live. And someone who consumes literally takes all the oxygen or the breath out of something. That's a consumer. And a consumer is someone who either spends money, time, or anything wastefully. So there's nothing that they're getting in return for what they're giving up. So it's totally wasted. There's no value that comes from what has been expended. Okay? So why is this critical for us? What would be your thoughts? Why is it important to understand the difference between an investor and a consumer? Why is it important to understand that? Why should we know what's the difference between an investor and a consumer? So put your comments in. Let me know your thoughts. And I'll kind of talk from a high level and we'll dig into it. Because not only are we going to talk about what's the difference between an investor and a consumer, then we're going to get into what should we invest in? How do we invest? And how do we really appreciate or get more value over time? How does that work? Okay, so while you do that, I'll get something off the screen real quick. What is the difference between an investor and a consumer? So to me, high level, the difference between an investor and a consumer is that right now, and I'm going to specifically talk about people who don't understand this concept. An investor, in anything that they do, they're looking for a future. They see something that is going to provide something for the next day, the next week, the next year, or down the road. They're looking at their generation, the next generation, their generation and the next generation, and how they can contribute and help. A consumer is selfish. They're only concerned about themselves, about what is best for them. Now, as a community, it is critical that each person learns to become an investor and not to consume. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, there's some things we have to consume. We have to use up. We have to destroy. We have to, there has to be some decomposition. You might be thinking, all right, well, food. You know that you can actually have investment in the type of food that you eat. You can eat food that gives you energy, so that brings value at the end of the line. Or you can eat food that tastes good, but is actually assisting in destroying you. So in any and everything, you can be either an investor or consumer. You can be like that with relationships. You can either be adding value to a relationship and both parties are getting better, they're appreciating, and their future is getting brighter. Or you can be, as we talked about, burning, where you're sucking the oxygen or the air or the fuel out of a relationship. And so there are so many examples of when individuals can either be an investor or consumer. You can be an investor in money. You can start businesses that help your community, or you can be a consumer. You can be the check cashing place that charges people 600-700% and consume people, consume their finances, consume their livelihood, and use traps to get them to fall into it. This is what we want to talk about. And there's a burning desire that God has put on my heart, and I believe the heart of people that will be a part of Love True Church, and that's honestly outside of Love True Church and around the world, where we're understanding that in order for us as a community, in order for us as a nation to get better, we have to be investors and not consumers. We have to care more about the next day than the present moment. We have to. We have to care more. We can look at it from every single aspect. As men, we have to care. We have to be investors. We have to be individuals that say, you know what, because I care about my future and I care about the future of my wife and I care about the future of my children, I'm not going to put this young lady in a tough position. I'm going to be here and help to invest and make sure that we appreciate down the road. And not just say, oh, I'm consumed. I can get what I can from this relationship and then move on. These are mindsets that can be ingrained in us where we really just focus on ourselves and not others and not the future. So, as we go through here, I want us to understand what Scripture says about the difference between the investor and the consumer. It says this in Galatians chapter 6, verses 7 through 10. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Okay? Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Okay, that first line in verse 8 is pretty much saying, when you're a consumer, when you care about how you feel, your flesh, what pleases you, you're going to reap destruction. That means you're going to use it up. You're going to take up all the oxygen and there's going to be nothing left. But it says whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in well-doing. Why does the Scripture encourage us to not get weary in well-doing? It's because sometimes it's hard to be an investor when all you see is consumers around you. And you believe that some of the consumers are winning. All they do is care about themselves and things are good for them. But I feel like I'm investing and no one is investing in me. Well, we have to really talk about what you should be investing in. Because sometimes we think we are investors, but really we are consumers. We think that we're helping someone by spending time with them, but really what's happening is they're wasting our time. So we're being consumed. So an investor has to be wise about what the resources they have and what they sow into. Okay? So let us not become weary in well-doing. For at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So don't give up on this process that God is doing. God is teaching us how to be better investors. And what do we invest in? What do we invest with? Okay? So therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. Okay? So let's talk about what you can invest in. And we're going to talk about 4 different things that will be helpful for us in investing in. Okay? The first thing is this, the heart. Okay? Proverbs 4:23 says this, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. I know we've all been in places where we've invested our heart to someone or something that doesn't deserve it. So instead of us investing, it became consumed. And sometimes that makes us leery to investing again. So I'll say it with money. If you've ever lost money in an investment, it makes you kind of shy to invest again. It's even much more with our heart, because our heart is so much more precious than money. So God is letting us know here in Proverbs, we need to guard it. We need to pay attention to what our heart will be invested in, because it's the source of who we are and everything flows from it. So if we have a bruised and beaten heart, everything that flows from it will be bruised and beaten. But if we take the time to invest our heart in something that won't let us down, that won't make us feel inferior, that will really cause us to appreciate over time, I really believe it talks about that in Galatians chapter 6 that we just read. You want to invest that with spending time with God. And then understanding what God wants you to invest your heart in. Make sure that it's protected. A lot of times we use our heart for relationships and give them into relationships that are not prepared to fully receive them. Or they don't really understand the full value of it. And they consume it. Let's not allow other people to consume our most precious gift, which is our heart. Okay? So that's one thing we can invest in. Let's make sure that we protect it. Let's make sure that we only allow it to be used by individuals that will help it to appreciate. Let's put good things into it. Let's not allow it to become bitter and bruised. If it becomes bitter and bruised, let's invest time to heal it before moving on. Because we have this bruised heart and we move on too quickly, all it's going to do is consume someone else because it's not pure. Okay? So, the first thing, the heart. And we learned that from Proverbs 4:23. Second thing, time. Okay? Bible tells us in Psalms 90:12, so teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. We only have a set amount of time on this earth. What you do with that time is an investment or consumption. Do not allow people to consume your time that don't deserve it. Don't allow activities to consume your time that don't deserve it. Let's ask God to teach us how to number our days. How to keep a true accounting of how many days we have, so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. So now we know that in order to protect our heart, we have to understand how to put wisdom inside of it. And one of the wisest things you can do is make sure that your time is not wasted. That your time is used to appreciate. That your time is enriching other lives, or your time is enriching your life, and it's not just being consumed. Okay? So, the first thing is the heart. Second thing is time. Teach us to number our days. Because you only have a short amount of time on this earth, don't allow it to be wasted. Don't allow time to be wasted where you could be spending time with your family, with your spouse, with your children, with your parents, with your grandparents. Take the time. Learn to number your days. I know we don't like to number our days because if we're numbering them, then we understand that there will be an end point. But when we understand how much time that we really have, this gives us an opportunity to truly use them wisely. If we live our life as though our days are unlimited, we will waste the time. But if we understand that our life is so precious and so short, then we have the opportunity to gain a heart of wisdom where we don't just get tossed to and fro by anything that's going on, any event that's happening, hanging out, doing just reckless stuff. We understand my life is precious. My life is fleeting. The Bible compares it to a vapor. It's here and then it's gone. Don't allow your time to keep going without wisdom being applied, without goals to be set, without milestones to be covered, without vision to be accomplished, without just spending time in God's presence and getting to know Him and understand who is the creator of all things, the one that sits outside of time. And the Bible says that can actually redeem time. So if you felt like, if you're watching this and you felt like, oh man, in my life I've actually wasted some time, God is saying, even though you wasted that time, I'll be able to do all the things you missed out in a shorter period of time if you listen to me now. So allow Him to redeem that time. The first thing is the heart that we should invest in. The second thing is time. The third thing, our skills. Okay? So here in Exodus 35:10 it said, all who are skilled among you are to come and make everything the Lord has commanded. Man, this verse is rich. Because our skills should be put towards things that the Lord has commanded us to do and not what somebody else is commanding us to do. This is how we keep our heart. This is how we keep our time, by doing what the Lord commanded us to do and not what someone thinks is a good idea. This is why it's critical for us to spend time with God and to pray. Prayer is two-way communication between God and us. And so when you're talking with God, you may say something, but it's critical that you hear from God. In any type of conversation, it's important to hear mostly from the one who's the wisest. In any conversation, God is wiser than us. I promise you. And so we're all hoping and believing and getting together and getting his word to hear from him and to understand what he wants us to do with the talents that he's given us, the skills he's given us. So all who are skilled among you are to come and make everything. Don't miss out on everything that God is commanding you to do. Don't waste your time swinging in the wind. Don't do it. Don't waste your skills. And remember, any skill that you're not using, it comes atrophy. It's like a muscle. So if you don't use that muscle, you lose it. Okay? And if you're not using those skills the way that the Lord has commanded you to do it, there's a possibility that you can lose it. So remember, invest in your heart, invest in your time, invest in the skills that God has given you. Be an investor and don't allow those things to be consumed. Okay? Don't allow those things to be consumed. Protect them. Protect them. Okay? And then the last of the fourth is money. Okay? Now, most of you probably saw this heading and probably thought this was the most important thing. This is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and hedge funds and how we can get ahead in money and stuff like that. Yes, we can. We can talk about those things. Because God is giving us a certain amount of resources and we should be appreciating them. They should be getting larger over time. They should not be decreasing. Okay? God, remember in 3 John chapter 2, it says, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So there it's talking about your soul, which your mind, will, and emotions. It's talking about everything that God has given you resources over, wants you to prosper, wants it to be enlarged. Little by little, it should continually compound. We should use the time, we should use our heart, we should use our skills, and we should use the money that God has given us. All those things working together can begin to appreciate and is compounded when we use them properly. Okay? So here in Matthew chapter 25, looking at verses 16 through 18, it says this. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. So here in Matthew chapter 25, it talks about 3 different servants of a master. One was given 5 bags of money, one was given 2 bags of money, one was given 1 bag of money. The first person went out there and took risk. Okay? Put the money to work. Gotta work it. If you don't work it, you'll be like the one who just see 1 bag. It's like hiding it if you don't work it. It's like digging a hole and just all you're concerned about is somebody else is going to consume your money, so you're trying to consume it yourself and make sure nobody else can consume it. You're selfish. When you are afraid to lose, you're selfish. Because if we truly represent God, if he's truly the one that told us to invest, then God is the one that's going to lead us and cause us to increase more and more. So here the person with the 5 bags did it, the person with the 2 bags did it. But the person with 1 bag was a consumer and not an investor. Did not go out and learn how to invest their funds. And It takes time to invest those funds. It takes skills to invest those funds. It takes your heart yielding to the Holy Ghost to invest those funds. Those are the things that those two first service, the one with the 5 bags and the one with the 2 bags did. But the one bag was a consumer, all about themselves. They used it up. They wanted to make sure nobody else, they didn't lose it. And from that, we read further down that story, the master calls them an evil servant. An evil servant. So let's not be evil and be consumed with ourselves. Let's learn to be investors instead of consumers. So how do we do that? Those are the things that we invest in, things we covered in. I'm pretty sure that there are more. But those are the big ones that we wanted to cover tonight and kind of get your feedback on was, 1, your heart. 2, your time. The third thing, your skills. And the fourth thing, money. Okay? So with that, let's kind of talk about where you're going to invest. And here are just some of the ideas that we had for that. But please let me know how from this, thinking about investing versus consuming, what can you do to adjust to become more of an investor and less of a consumer? Because I think there's aspects of all of us that are still consuming and not really investing. What can we do to become better investors? Would love to hear from the people that are watching your thoughts. What can we do to become better investors? And here's just some of the ideas. What are some practical things we can do that we can invest in the Spirit of God, that we can invest in personal development, family, ministry, relationship, and our personal finances. Where can we begin to do this with our heart, with our time, with our skills, and with our money? We'd love to hear your thoughts. What are some practical ways we can start to do that? Don't all speak at once now. Let me know what you're thinking. How can we become better investors? Let's pick something in our relationships. How can we not only become better investors with our spouse, but with our friends, even with some associates? Mentoring, okay. Mentoring. We can mentor individuals. We can be mentored. And when being mentored, let's make sure that it's a reciprocal relationship. We're not just consuming everything that the person is giving to us and not really sowing back into that person that's mentoring us. What are some other things that we can do to be better investors? Investors in any of these things and money. What are some stocks, some mutual funds that we can possibly look into? Like, what are some ideas? 529 plans, IRAs, individual retirement accounts, Roth IRAs. Be intentional with your actions. Understand the motives behind what you do. Absolutely. So any action that you make, you want to make sure it's intentional. Why am I making this action? Why am I doing this? Why am I spending time with this person? Why am I hanging out with these individuals? Now, it's sometimes I say, oh my gosh, that sounds like a consumer. It's not. Investor understands that the resources that you have, you want to make sure they appreciate for the person that you're with and yourself as well. Both of you guys are appreciating or getting better, or getting stronger. Because I hear sometimes people say, you got to learn to be selfish. And honestly, I don't think that's selfish, investing in yourself. Especially when you understand that investing in yourself can help others. I think it's selfish when you consume, when you're taken away from someone, or you are causing the other person to lose out so you can gain. That's a consumer. But if you're taking time to get better and it's helping someone else as well, that's an investor. Absolutely. Any other comments? What are some other practical ways that we can invest in any of these areas. So let's how about date nights? Date nights are great. Invest in your relationship. Ask God to show you something or an interest area that you are passionate about, and invest time in growing in that thing area. Absolutely, Latrice. Absolutely. That's that process. Asking God, where do you want my time? Where do you want my skills? Where do you want my heart to be placed in? And then investing that time and growing in that area. Absolutely. What are some other practical things that we can do? How about doing a word study out of the Bible? You know, learn more about love, or learn more about hope, or faith, or joy. Sometimes digging into the Hebrew word or the Greek word and understand the underlying tone of what a word is saying helps us to grow and to actually operate better. You know, sometimes we perish for lack of knowledge. How about reading books? Reading books is an investment. Going to seminars, an investment. Taking trainings, investments. Okay, now it's important to take trainings in what God is giving you a passion to do. Don't just take some random trainings. But what are some other things? What are some other areas that we could possibly invest in, although we can commit to investing in? And I think at this time it's really good to do an introspection and say, is there something that I'm a consumer in and that I need to change? So maybe what are some consuming habits that we have that we need to let go of? Anyone brave enough to kind of put that as well? What are some things that we're consuming? It's about us, really. And we're not using it to help other individuals, or we're not even using it to make a greater impact in the future. We're just using it because it feels good, or because we want to do this. Are there some consumptions that we should give up? Any thoughts around that? Shopping. Yeah, sometimes we don't even need anything, but we're going out and spending some money. Shopping too much. Oh yeah, you had to put that candy on. But what are some other things that we're consuming right now? We should be a lot more strategic with how we use something that is not just about us, or we're destroying or being wasteful. Any other consumption things? Sometimes video games can be consuming. Spend a lot of time doing that. Anything in excess, you know, the Bible talks about lust, and really, lust is anything that's too much. Clutter in your brain and physical life. Clutter in your brain and physical life. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we consume some good food, don't want to work out. Or we fill our head with useless knowledge. Or, you know, do something that we're trying to escape from the world and the pressures of the world and the things that are happening in the world. We're trying to get away from them. Not planning for retirement. Yes, that can be a consumption. You can be eating all the seeds right now, and when you get older, you don't have any trees or any fruit to eat from in your latter years. Really, we have to look and change our mindset in using finances and using money to invest instead of consuming. We have to get a good balance. We have to become better investors. understanding what we'll need today and what we'll need in the future. Binge watching shows. There are some shows that I came in really late and binge watched. I think I did that for, oh my gosh, the Game of Thrones. I didn't learn about Game of Thrones until like the 4th or 5th season, and I've ran through some seasons. Some days where I've watched 8 episodes. That's 8 hours. I have done that. I have done that. Oh my gosh, I've consumed some shows. How about buffets? You have enough nutrients to move on, but you just keep on eating. Just keep consuming because it feels good. It tastes good. This food is good. Keep doing it. No, I've killed some buffets in my day. Good grace. Anybody remember Chesapeake Seafood House? Bad boy used to be around here in the DC metropolitan area. Yeah, buddy. Kill some shrimp, some crab legs. Yes, indeed. What are some other things that we need to let go of that is consuming? How about social media? How about sometimes we, instead of time that we could be reading or becoming educated on a particular topic, we use social media to escape from the world and kind of see what everybody else is doing. And it starts off good and understanding what other people are doing, but we stay on it way too long. Sometimes that can be consuming. It can consume our time. And we can get into useless debates sometimes on social media. Prayerfully and hopefully this was a good investment of your time and learning from this social media platform about investing versus consuming. But sometimes there are things that are just mindless and dumb. Maybe watching 2 people fight on social media, or there's useless debates. There's a lot of them on social media. Everyone is raising their level of pettiness and wittiness in responses, and it's definitely useless. There is nothing that's truly gained from it. Remember, that is when that's what consuming is, when something is used wastefully. Sometimes the debates are. All right, I think we've covered this. I just want to go back so individuals can see this. The difference between an investor and a consumer. So you can have that as a snapshot and use this as a barometer for us to tell the difference between whether we are investing and whether or if we're being a consumer. Get the last one. So this is critical for us to do introspection. Are we investors or are we consumers? And let's strive to be investors, because I truly believe that Jesus was the ultimate investor. He said, I come not to be served, but to serve and to give my life as a ransom. So I didn't come to get something, to consume something. I came to give it up. And so with him dying on the cross and rising from the dead, that investment and taking on our pain and our suffering caused millions upon billions of people to have the opportunity to be saved and spend eternity with him. So, I mean, you can't get, there was no greater investment that was ever made in the history of mankind than what Jesus did in taking our place. And so that is our example. That is who we're supposed to reflect. That is truly how love is shown by investing. By investing. Because we're using our time, we're using something to get a greater yield in the future. So Jesus died on the cross, and he was used because he knew a greater value would come 3 days later. So there, that is just the ultimate example of investment versus a consumer. Consumer being Lucifer when he was in heaven and when he was there, and he wanted to be like God. He wanted praises to come towards him. He wanted things to be with him. And not only did he consume himself, he consumed 1/3 of the angels and had them follow him. Okay, so this really starts at the top. Let's reflect Jesus when we invest, and make sure that we protect our heart, our time, our skills, and our finances, our money. Make sure that we use those as investments instead of being consumed. All right, and so with that being said, just another recap. We're going through this book, Crazy Love. We're going through the first 2 chapters. We'll be talking about that next Thursday. And please get this book. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on iBooks. You can get it on Google Play. You can find a way to get this book. And if you can send us your email address, if you're not if you're not signed up for Right Now Media, we want to make sure that you're signed up for that so you can watch the videos with us as we go through the book. So we'll watch the 2 videos in Right Now Media. So when you sign up, I'll send you the study that we're doing. You'll watch the 2 videos by Francis Chan, and then you'll read the books. Read the chapters from the book. And so I truly believe that this is a really good investment, because you'll learn how to see love as God does. This is a challenge. I believe investments causes you to be challenged. This is a challenge to you. Get this book, sign up, send us your email address at www.lovestruth.org so we can get you signed up for Right Now Media, and we can get cracking on this study, Crazy Love, which we'll be talking about next Thursday. Also, if you love the things that you're seeing, please follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook. Visit our website, www.lovestruth.org. Join our Facebook group if you like. Follow us on Instagram. We have a Periscope. I don't use it, so don't worry about the Periscope one. But look at those avenues. So Instagram, we're on Twitter, Facebook. Check us out. All those handles are at Love's Truth Real. Love's Truth Real. And you can follow us, or you can find all those handles at www.lovestruth.org. And if you would like to invest, if you believe that we are creating value in the community and creating opportunities for individuals to get closer to Christ, we ask that you invest in the ministry. Every dollar is going towards that. And so you can do that at www.lovestruth.org. And this Saturday, this is where we're meeting. We'll be at Carmody Hills Elementary School, which is 401 Jade Leaf Avenue, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's a back to school fair, and we're going to have some moon bounces, some food, some games. They're giving out books. It's going to be an amazing time. So tell your friends, tell everyone, bring your kids out. We'll have 2 moon bounces, one for big kids, one for little kids. We'll have some music playing. It's gonna be bananas. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna be eating some hot dogs and some chips and some waters. So come hang out with us. It's gonna be wonderful. So that's this Saturday, September 9th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Come check us out at Carmody Hills Elementary School, 401 Jade Leaf Avenue, in Capitol Heights, Maryland, 20743. All right. Well, that's all I got for you tonight. It was an honor to be here with you. And remember, our hashtag is Keep Growing. So here at Love Truth Church, we want to be people dedicated to speaking and living Jesus' love and truth, which causes growth in every area of life. All right? Y'all take care. Knock it out. What's up, Scotty, man? So definitely hang out with us. Any finance investments that you give will go towards that. All right? Love you guys.